Hey, I am Mustafa Sherif. Thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica Podcast. This episode gonna be super special because today I'm celebrating 5,000 listeners in 70 countries. So today we're not gonna talk about urban planning or something related to this. I have three Wonder Women. They were with me from the beginning, and each one of them contributed in special way. So today, I would love to say thank you so much for all of them. I would love to highlight how much they were suffering because of me. So, hello and welcome to Urbanistica Podcast.
Hello. Thank you.
Hello, thank you.
I will try to make the story easier for the listeners and the people watching this. So I will start with each one of you and tell the story. Let's start with Karin Lekberg. Today it's your birthday, so happy birthday as well.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I had prosecco and chocolate for breakfast, so I'm fine. I'm
So
comfortable.
so fancy. Karin, how would you like to introduce yourself to the listeners?
I'm a good friend of you, Mustafa, but I also work together with you every day. I'm a colleague, and I work at Landskapslaget as well as Johanna and Carro. But I'm not an architect or urban planner. I'm from the culture and art sector and creative industries. And I work with the combination of urban development together with art, culture, and creativity. And also how you can work with social sustainability together with urban planning or urban development. So that's what I work with.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining. Johanna, how would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, I'm a landscape architect. I work at Landskapslaget, as Karin said. And how would I like to introduce myself? I think I just want to say something about life. I think that life is really important, and both as a biological concept, like enable us to live, but also what Karin is saying about the cultural concept where we fill our lives with meaning, and that the profession that and what we're working with is to have a framework and that we can do great things with, and coexisting with nature and all of that, I think is yeah, the best thing ever.
Yes, typical Johanna, philosophical. Caro, my neighbor in the office. So, how would you like to introduce yourself?
I also work as a landscape architect at Landskapslaget, and I actually had the luck to start my working career the same day as Mustafa.
Mhm.
And since that, it's been very exciting to follow the development of this pod. Something more about me. I have a hard way choosing interest because I switch almost every day. But right now, I think when I'm not working as a landscape architect, which of course is one interest in itself, I build furniture for my own apartment.
Cool.
That's what I'm doing
Wow.
right now.
Yes, yes.
Didn't
And
know
by
that.
by the way, the furniture you're creating is so fancy, so cool. So I promise when I get a flat or something, I will call you and you will do all the interior design.
I would love to.
Well, Karin, let's start with you. So I remember it was in the end of December when I wanted to start this podcast. I came to you in the morning and I told you, okay, Karin, I want to start this. And you be like, so just do it. What are you waiting for? So my question to you is why you believe in this podcast and what is your reflection?
I prefer yes instead of no in life in general. I think it's much better to say yes and take a risk than to say no and not knowing what will happen. But my passion in life is to see when others achieve success and have the opportunity to live their dreams. And I think that after more than 30 years in the sector industry of full of artists, creators, entrepreneurs, and talents and excellence, I have learned and to see and almost feel the smell of really good talent and excellency at a very long distance. So of course it's about excellency and talents, but it's also about good ideas, and it's more about the right energy and the right motivation. And I saw that in you the first time I met you. And I think that's why I encourage you so much to give this a try and not to think so much, and not think about all the obstacles. Instead, just go for it. Go ahead, try.
Yes, and your yes was equal with 1,000 yes, so it was a big yes for me, and it was really
Yeah.
big push. So again, thank you so much. And talking about push and motivation, Johanna, you were sending me and inspiring me with different podcasts. So what what made you do that? It was before I'm telling you let's start a podcast.
Yeah, no, but I think it's a lot of what Karin says as well. I think that we found a common interest quite early on in our dialogue, in being really curious and wanting to learn, and also this great admiration for people that really do great things and follow their dreams. And yeah, seeing that in you, and the energetic, optimistic, driven person that you are, I really felt that the pods that I recommended to you had made a great impact in my life, and that they could be possibly some inspiration for you as well. And I don't even know that I knew that it actually had such a great impact. So that's really awesome
So
to know.
thank
And
you
to
so
hear.
much for all the recommendation, and also be careful when you send podcasts to someone when you recommend the podcast.
Why? It's
You,
amazing.
you don't know what might happen, you know.
Well, if this happens, I think it's a great
It's
Yeah,
result.
really good.
yeah, she
Really
was
good
amazing.
method.
Yeah,
Can
she
you
is.
send some to me, Johanna?
Of course. Yeah.
Well, Caroline, you're sitting next to me at the office, and sometimes I feel really bad because I'm disturbing you so much with everything else, but especially with the podcast. So tell me why you were telling me okay when I wanted to try like the different application before I start with a guest. You were like a kind of experiment studio.
Happy to hear that I was your experiment studio, because I would say that is the right word to use rather than a sound checking person, because that's something I've never done before. And in one way, I would say it's very easy to answer the question why I helped you, and that's because you're a very good friend of mine. And I know you would have done the same to me, or actually you are doing the same to me, because you're my experiment studio. And yeah, I also know that both of you are, you and me are people with a lot of ideas. And sometimes you just need to test them on someone before you take it further. And testing with you is a lot of fun. And at the same time, I think we both really trust each other to tell the other one if it's a flip or flop idea. And yes, and I just love watching you doing this, because I've seen you meet. It started out with seeing you meeting all my friends, and I was so impressed by the way you were listening to people. You really got them going, and to see you doing this pod when you meet people and talk to them, it's a perfect match, and I'm glad to help whenever
Thank
you need.
Thank you so much. Just to tell some stories about the collaboration I do with Caroline. For instance, I fulfill the cloud that we are sharing with like
Yeah.
1,000 gigabyte because of my podcast, and she's calling me. Can you delete some of the episode because I need to upload something?
Yeah. Yeah,
So I
I couldn't even open a PDF.
yeah. So this is just one small stories, and yeah, there are many, and I hope we continue telling the story later. Well, Johanna, now we are finishing this cool celebration with takeaway messages from each one of you, the Wonder Women that stand behind this podcast. So how would you like, what is your takeaway message for the 5K listeners from 70 different countries?
Oh wow, that's quite a big role to take on here. But
Come on, Hannah.
I would say like the first most obvious thing is to keep on listening to this podcast, of course. I think that the inspiration that it brings is something that we all need, especially right now. Seeing the possibilities of how we can meet, the, I mean, not depending on, or like wherever we're from and whoever we are, there's so many things we can do together, and that we can really change this world and make it better.
Wow.
So that's, I guess,
Amazing.
my little
That's
message.
amazing. That's amazing. Karin, how would you like to? What is your takeaway message?
It's a bit the same as Jana, to encourage people to listen to your podcast, but also to send it to good friends and maybe start up some discussion clubs around your podcast and inspire others to do their pods and so on. Because I think that, I don't remember if it was you, Johanna, who said that. No, it was Carro. Also, the extremely talent you have when you listen to people. You are a listener. I never met a better or better listener than you, Mustafa.
Thank you so much for the big words. Thank you so much, Karin. I really appreciate it. Caro, finally.
Yeah. Okay, I would say the same as the previous speakers. Keep on listening. And also, I would say if you know someone who would be an interesting speaker, or if maybe it's yourself, call Mustafa, because you will have a lovely speak with him. And as you said to Karin, be inspired of Mustafa, who started this in, what did you say, December?
Yeah, and the end of December.
End of December. And as you can see, how many pods have you done?
4 months, I think 65, something like this.
Yeah, that's something to be inspired by.
I don't count anymore.
No,
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Caroline. And also, before we finish, I would love to take hashtag from each one of you. So
Hashtag life.
My hashtag is live your dream.
Cool. And Caroline?
Hashtag experiment.
Oh, yes, of course. And again, thank you so much for listening to Urbanistica Podcast. I'm very happy and very proud of myself, of the listeners. It was a big journey, and I will continue to do that because it's something I'm in love with. Of course, there are many other people that have been part of this, my family, some other people as well that couldn't make it today. But again, big thanks for these 3 Wonder Womens. And thank you so much again for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And please don't forget to follow Instagram account, subscribe the YouTube channel, and so on. If you have any great story that makes our city smarter, please contact me. I am Mustafa Sherif. Have a good life.